Welcome to Hardback Life. It's time for stories, sass, and strong opinions. Let's turn the page. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Becca.
Hi, guys.
I love the end of the intro for especially today's episode because I feel like this episode will elicit some strong opinions.
I agree. I think it really will. And if you don't have strong opinions, you should. There needs to be more of a conversation about it. So what's new before we get into what this episode is? Anything exciting going on in your life?
What's new since Thursday, since we last
Literally.
recorded?
It's Saturday, guys, just so you know. It's really not that much has happened.
Yeah, really not a lot. I went to Target today and spent money that I shouldn't have spent, but that's just Target.
That's fun.
I got a cute outfit. I'm excited about it.
I got a haircut, guys. I have a middle part now. That's new.
I like it. It looks much better than the day you got it cut.
It was not a look. I still have to figure it out.
Curls are just not something that I would want to deal with.
So hard.
I give you a lot of credit for dealing with them because I don't think I would want to deal with curls in my hair. Today, we're going to do an episode on book banning. And we've each picked a banned book. And I feel like we're both very passionate about the book that we chose. So we're going to give you some recent news around book banning to kick off this episode. Texas recently passed a bill allowing just a handful of parents on advisory councils to challenge library and classroom books for indecent content or inconsistency with community values. Critics argue it hands over censorship power to subjective, possibly unrepresentative voices. The next one is, according to PEN America, over 4,000 unique titles were banned in U.S. public schools during the 2023 and 2024 academic year, part of 16,000 book bans since 2021. Florida and Iowa alone accounted for nearly 80% of last year's total.
What are we doing?
Accomplishing
literally nothing. We're erasing history because most of the books are like old, historically written books. And we're just erasing it all. And I can't stand that. We banned the Lorax because it gives an environmental message that may be anti-industry. Literally why the Lorax is banned. So I look calm, guys, because I'm trying to stay calm. The Lorax one really got me because anti-industry, stop knocking down all the trees, industry, and then nobody be anti you.
We don't need to be banning a book so people will fall to the other side. And that's what we're doing.
And like another big reason books are banned is because they have two moms or two dads or whatever the case may be. But I know I Am Jazz, the book written by the transgender, I was going to say teenager, but she's not. I think she's like a full grown adult. I think she's in college now. So I don't think she's a teenager, but she wrote a book about like her going through her whole process and stuff. Cause I remember she had a TV show also called I Am Jazz. She started transitioning very young. So she has this book like from a child's perspective of it. And that's banned. By banning that book, you're just taking away knowledge from kids.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Is we don't want kids to be educated about those things. Like, we're blocking things on purpose based on our political views.
Your kid is going to end up in a class with another student who has two moms or two dads or something. You're never going to escape it. Like, no. Banning these books is not going to get rid of all of the same gender families or all of the transgender people in this world. So stop doing it. Just stop.
I saw a video on TikTok one time, and it was, I forget the teacher's name, one of the ones that's pretty TikTok famous. He was doing like a segment, and he was talking about books with two moms or two dads, or just like in general, like the topic of same-sex marriage, right?
Yeah.
And he basically said, my job as a teacher is not to sway you. Like, my job is not to be out here convincing you to be gay. Like, my job is to recognize that your family has two moms and your family has a mom and a dad, and that's okay. And that's the extent. That's as far as we go. And people think that we're like educating children in schools, and that's turning into coercing them. That's not what we're doing. We're just trying to create a safe environment where, hey, like, your family's okay for how they identify, like, your family's okay for the way that you live.
Like, here's a who. A person's a person, no matter how small, no matter the difference.
That's not the world we live in right now.
And that's so sad to me. Like, I don't know, guys. without bringing politics into it, I just think like worry about yourself and be kind. And those are the two things like I try to live by.
Worry about yourself, be kind, and care about other people, and that's the problem.
Care about others in the sense where like you want good things to happen to them, but not where you need to stick your nose in their business. If you don't like a book, don't read the damn book. Just don't read it. If you don't like it, don't read it. I don't watch TV shows I don't like. I'm not banning them in my household. My husband can still watch them if he wants.
Yeah, if you don't want to do something, don't do it. It's not your life. Do you want to get into your book or my book first?
It's fine because I brought mine up already.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm doing To Kill a Mockingbird. I've said it before, but it's my all-time favorite book. Period, banned book or not, all-time favorite book. I read it for the first time, I want to say freshman or sophomore year in high school. And then since then, I think I've read it 3 other times. I just love it. It's like it is the only book I've successfully reread. It's by Harper Lee. It won a Pulitzer Prize, and it also, from the 80s to the 90s, was the most contested banned book. It's interesting, because I don't get why they ban books at all, but I don't get this one. So, just real quick, if you've never read it, or it's been a while, because you also might have read it in high school. Welcome to the 1930s Maycomb, Alabama, a town so sleepy even the gossip moves at half speed. Meet Scout Finch, a sassy little girl who's more interested in punching boys and climbing trees than being a lady. Along with her older brother Jem and their pint-sized partner in crime Dill, Scout spends her summer trying to lure the local boogeyman, Boo Radley, out of his haunted house. Spoiler alert, he's just introverted. He's not a vampire. I'm probably the Boo Radley of like my own neighborhood, to be honest. Anyway, their dad, Atticus Finch, was a lawyer, a single father, and the walking embodiment of a moral fiber. He's busy trying to defend Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused in a town where racism is practically a community sport. Cue courtroom drama, mob confrontations, life lessons, and a reminder that kids often understand justice better than adults. Oh, and Boo Radley does finally show up, not with an axe. He's actually the hero. Moral of the story, don't judge people by rumors, skin color, or how often they leave their house. Also, mockingbirds are harmless, so maybe don't go around killing them. Fun fact, I don't know if it still is, but back then in Alabama, it was illegal to kill mockingbirds.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Another fun fact is that Dill in the book, Harper Lee was friends with Truman Capote when they were kids, so Dill is actually based on Truman Capote.
I love how much you know about this book.
No.
I don't know that much. I definitely haven't dove as deep into my book. Like, I've only read it once, and it's not like my all-time favorite, but it's my favorite for this category.
I have a little more information on Harper Lee, and then I can go into that. So this was, Harper Lee actually wrote her sequel to this, Go Set a Watchman, first. So technically, To Kill a Mockingbird is the prequel to Go Set a Watchman. She wrote it first, and then they were like, we don't know these characters enough to like care. We need more information on them. So then she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, and that's the one they decided to release.
We're gonna talk about both of the books here in the beginning and kind of compare and contrast as we go along. So I chose The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is also a show on Hulu. It has 9 seasons. I watched the first 2 and then started to get into the third, and it lost me because they take it a lot farther than the book goes. I'm rewatching it and I'm really enjoying it. So I actually refreshed myself, and so I feel like I can actually talk about this so much better.
Watched or read this because honestly, it freaks me out a little bit.
It should.
I know that's the point, but
it should. You have to be in the right mindset.
Stick with my fairies for now.
The genre for The Handmaid's Tale is dystopian fiction, and it's got a couple awards. Quick summary is it's set in the Toltarian state of Gilead. The story follows Offred, a handmaid forced into reproduction servitude under a theocratic regime. So here's the synopsis. Welcome to Gilead, formerly the United States, now a theocratic regime where fashion is inspired by Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, no.
It's so true. And freedom is considered a gateway drug. After a fertility crisis, the government decides the best solution is to turn a handful of still baby-capable women into red-robed reproductive concubines called handmaids. Enter Offred, whose hobbies include not dying, silent rebellion, and inner monologue so dry they could start a fire. She's assigned to a commander who may or may not understand Scrabble, is not foreplay. The commander's wife, a jealous, angry, and one knitting session away from stabbing someone with a crochet hook. As Offred navigates creepy ceremonies, resistance gossip, and awkward car rides with men who think winking is a personality, she begins to realize that maybe, just maybe, being treated like a walking womb isn't all it's cracked up to be. Will Offred escape? Will Gilead fall? Will anyone ever just have a normal dinner party again? Tune in for this chilling tale of oppression, eyeliner, less rebellion, and what happens when literally no one has read the Constitution in a while.
It's concerning.
It's really concerning because as I'm rewatching it, the feelings that it invokes and some of the scenes that are depicted are just not far off. I don't think we're here yet, but gear up the red robes because I think we might get close.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's not good.
Really terrifying.
So the Scrabble, let me explain the Scrabble. Basically, Offred is assigned to this commander and his wife, and he just is a sick fuck. There's no other way around it. And so he is one of the people that created Gilead, which is this place that used to formerly be the United States. And he says and does all these things and tells people to believe things, but he doesn't follow them like a typical white man in charge and just does whatever he wants.
I say, not as I do.
Correct. And so he like secretly invites Offred into his office, which is like a no-no in this society. Like women do not go in the place of work, God forbid. And he invites her like at night secretly into his office to play Scrabble, which like they're also not supposed to do. Basically, women are banned from reading, pretty much doing anything other than bearing children. So he invites her in and plays Scrabble with her, and it becomes this very like sexual power dynamic pursuit situation. And
yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to his wife, who is infertile. And so that's why they have Offred the handmaid, because Offred is responsible for bearing children for them. But listen, it's not, we're going to use like modern technology to take like our sperm and our egg and put it in you, and you're just going to have to like carry this baby around. No, we have a whole religious ceremony where we read the Bible, and then we go up into the bedroom, and the handmaid lays in the legs of the wife, and the commander assaults her. It's
I hated it before that, but I really hate it now.
Yeah, it's really awful.
That is upsetting.
So no wonder.
But again, it is upsetting, but you don't need to ban it.
No, and also like, it's fiction.
For now.
Yeah. Let's not go there right now. Again, take everything with a grain of salt.
Again, if you don't like it or it freaks you out, don't read it. I don't read it. It's okay. I didn't ban it. Obviously, Becca still read it. I don't know.
I read it a while ago. There's actually a second book called The Testaments, and they're actually getting ready to make a like Hulu spinoff of that book too. And it follows a whole other set of handmaids.
So I had a question.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any men that are like, this is not right? Or is it just strictly the females?
No, there are men.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of like spies and people who are working like underground to defy Gilead. There's actually a lot of people who are trying to help these women get out. It's just really hard. Like they have Gilead like on lockdown.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Do we want to talk about why? Because really, we didn't say why they're banned yet. There's a whole list.
Yeah, let's hit that.
All right. So pretty much, in my humble opinion, the only reason we're banning books is because it's censorship and it's a way to control. And that's it. So here are the reasons that we are told that To Kill a Mockingbird is banned. Racial slurs and offensive language. Of course, I read you the synopsis. They're not nice to each other. So the novel contains the frequent use of the N-word and other racially charged language. Some readers find this language too offensive or harmful, especially for younger audiences. Critics argue that it can perpetuate trauma, even if the book is anti-racist in its message. It's also depictions of racism and racial injustice, While To Kill a Mockingbird aims to criticize racism, some opponents argue that it centers white characters like Atticus as saviors, doesn't adequately empower Black characters like Tom Robinson. Its portrayal of racism may come off as outdated or simplistic in today's context. So,
Hold on.
one, you can't judge something written 75 years ago based on today's standards.
No.
The portrayal of racism comes off outdated because it is outdated. But if we get rid of this book, then we're erasing that part of history and it's bound to repeat itself. Let it stay outdated. Let people read this and be like, wow, this isn't right. I'm glad it doesn't happen anymore. But if we get rid of it and we're not reading that, guess what's going to happen in a few years? We're going to relive this stuff. History repeats itself, especially when you keep yourself naive to it all.
Can you imagine all of the like literature or script or just like anything, firsthand accounts, stories passed down? Can you imagine all of the stuff that we don't know?
Why do we do this as a society?
How much are we missing of our history
I agree.
because we wanted to create a certain image?
Yeah, let's not worry about the image. Let's not forget shitty things that we've done in the past. I, as a person, don't forget shitty things I have personally done because I would like to grow from them. So I would hope as a society we'd have that same mentality, but we don't. Connected to this is the white savior narrative, Atticus becoming more of the hero. So this book does sideline Black voices a little bit because it's told through Scout's perspective. So Scout hears Atticus talking. Back then in segregation, she hears the white people talking. So yes, in that sense, it didn't portray that voice. But again, it was still written 75 years ago or however long. Scout hears everything through a white person's perspective. She's a white child in a white neighborhood. But it's important because she's hearing how her dad's saying we should be equal in the eyes of the law, but she's also hearing really terrible things from like her classmates and her classmates' family. And it's about this young girl navigating through a life like this. And she really tries to fight racism in her own way, in her own life, and take a stand for people that don't have a voice.
Oh, because, side note, newsflash, we aren't born racist. That shit's taught.
Oh, for sure.
That shit is stuff that you hear, that you're told, nonverbals of how you watch your parents and the people around you treat others that look differently than you. Like, God, people are naive.
I understand they might want more through Tom Robinson's voice because he's the one on trial. He's the person who's having racism thrown at him.
I also think, too, like you said, it's important to note when this book was written. As a society, and it's really funny because I'm going to make this statement and then I'll make another one. As a society at that time, probably weren't ready for a book from a Black man's perspective. Also, Harper Lee, good for you for staying in your lane, because for you to sit back as a white woman, and if she had tried to write from a Black man's perspective, you can't.
And then if she did do that, book would be banned now. Like,
Correct.
because again, we can't judge things from hundreds of years ago, 75 years ago, whatever, based on today's standards.
No.
Because they didn't have today's standards.
No, do I think that it would be worth it to have his perspective? Absolutely. Like I said, it wouldn't be authentic because it would be a white woman writing it.
So she is a white woman living in a time of segregation, Harper Lee. So she's writing from probably how she learned to navigate society. And I think that gives a very genuine outlook for Scout and a genuine path for Scout.
She stayed in her lane, like I said, and I respect Harper Lee for it.
So there's a notable banning in 2022. In Madison County, Mississippi, it was removed because complaints about the language and portrayal of race. And then another place in Mississippi removed it because it makes people uncomfortable.
It should make you uncomfortable. It should make you uncomfortable that we treat people who don't look the same as us differently. It should make you uncomfortable that this man in this book was accused of assaulting this young girl solely because he was Black. It
Yeah.
should make you uncomfortable.
America's history is not perfect. No country's history is. And hearing about things that have happened in the past, you're right, should make you uncomfortable because if we're not uncomfortable, they're going to happen again.
Really, what this all stems down to is that we're banning these books because they challenge the way that we view the world and our worldview and the things that we were taught as we were growing up. And that's uncomfortable. And people don't want to confront their privilege. They don't want to confront their supremacy. Like, they don't want to confront those things. They want to live in this bubble where, oh, yeah, like everybody's equal. Like, I don't see color. Get out.
I know. Even in today, we say everybody's equal, but like you hear all these
You're
horrible
not. I
things.
sure as hell don't feel equal as a woman.
I think it's still a very relevant story.
I do too.
The language is rough at some parts. It is rough. But again, it's of its time. Like she was writing to teach us to respect each other, to not judge each other based on the way we look, where we come from. So she wanted us to be uncomfortable. She wanted us to see those words and be like, that's harsh. Like, why are we saying that to other humans?
It's easier to get rid of the things that make us uncomfortable than to actually face them and sit in the discomfort.
That's fair. Again, it all comes down to just censorship and control. That's really
110%.
all of it.
My comment about oppression as a woman can just like slide right into mine.
Yeah, it can. Perfect segue.
Perfect. So, Handmaid's Tale. Shocker. Number 1, it was banned for sexual content and graphic scenes. The book contains explicit descriptions of ritualized sexual acts. What they call in the book is the ceremony, where the handmaid lays in the lap of the wife and is forced to have sex with the commander to bear children. These scenes are central to the dystopian critique, but are often deemed too graphic or inappropriate, especially for high school students. Do we know that there are high school students out here getting assaulted worse than that book is depicted? So we're not like breaking down any walls here.
Speak is also a banned book.
Oh my
And
God.
it's about a high schooler being assaulted. They're real things that happen. And I just think the more we take knowledge away, the more we take these stories away, the less prepared our young society is going to be.
Oh yeah. If we don't talk about it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And we all know how that's gone in the past.
Number 2, profanity and crude language. It contains strong language, including profanity and references to sexual anatomy and violence, which some parents and school boards find offensive. Number 3, themes of religious extremism. The novel portrays a theocratic regime, Gilead, where a fundamentalist interpretation of the Bible justifies female oppression. This has led to backlash from some religious groups who feel the book misrepresents religion or is anti-Christian.
I got a lot of feels there. I'm not going to touch that.
Okay, so I don't give a fuck and I'm going to touch everything. So really what stands out to me is misrepresentation of religion. I can see that. It very much paints the idea of God and the Bible and Christian faith as a negative viewpoint. But the only reason, in my opinion and from my perception, that it paints that negatively is because of how the characters and this world, Gilead, or this regime, utilize the Bible and scripture.
They like weaponize it.
They weaponize it. Yes, it's misrepresentative, but guys, it's fiction. There are people out here who are weaponizing the Bible.
I was just going to say, I think the author uses that as a point. Like maybe in some people's eyes, she's exaggerating the point, but she's making the point that it does get weaponized like that.
Absolutely. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
I'm already said more than I wanted to.
Number 4, violence and trauma includes references to rape, forced pregnancy, child abduction, mutilation, public executions, and psychological abuse, all used to highlight the horrors of totalitarianism and misogyny. Critics argue these elements are too disturbing for younger readers. Listen, this is the thing. Would I per se let my high school son read this book? Probably not. Am I letting my high school son read ACOTAR? Probably not. Like, I get it. I understand why some of the sexual content is very graphic. So to that extent, I can understand not wanting to utilize it in schools. But also, like I said earlier, these things are happening. They're seeing it on the news. We're seeing things on the news about rape and forced pregnancies and child abduction and mutilation and psychological abuse. High school students have what's called the internet, and you can access anything you want. So if your kid is not reading it in The Handmaid's Tale, your kid is finding it on the internet.
And so 2 points to this. One, just going off what you literally just said, it's like they're gonna get this information, whether it's in a way that helps them build knowledge on the kind of person they want to be or makes it into a joke.
Do you want your kids happening upon like the dark web?
Yeah.
Where these things are illegally depicted? Do you want your kids for the first time finding out that child abduction is a thing when they're floating on the internet and they're watching some horror story from the news on YouTube about maybe somebody down the street from them who was abducted, like, or movies? They're going to get it from somewhere.
And also, here's the thing. I'm not saying The Handmaid's Tale should be read to first graders.
No.
The word ban, I think, is not good. And then I also just think as parents, I'm not a parent, but parents need to be informed on what their child is reading. And for example, Harry Potter's ban, I read that in kindergarten.
That's insane.
I didn't grow up to go to Hogwarts. I don't fly on a broom. Like, it didn't mess up my brain for
Also,
reading
like,
that.
when you're in first grade, like, you're not pulling out these deeper messages that are the reasons that we're banning these books.
No. And like I said, don't go read these to first graders, but don't take away the opportunity for their lessons to still be taught.
No. Am I going to use this book in a 6th grade lit class? No. Maybe I would consider using it in a senior class who, by the way, are 17 years old, who are getting ready to turn 18, and they're going to be adults, and they can go out to any Barnes & Noble they want, and they can buy whatever fucking book they want to read, or they're going to go to college, and they're going to see all this crap anyway.
Like I said, like, I remember in 8th grade, we learned about World War II, so the Holocaust and all that, and it's like some of these books that we're banning from schools are really beneficial to learn about that time period, to get firsthand accounts of things that had happened. I'm not saying these should be read to these 8th graders or whatever, but like they are learning about these time periods. They are learning about these topics. Don't take away resources from them.
Anyway, last one, which is a great one. Feminism and political themes. The book is often seen as radically feminist and politically charged. In some conservative regions, opponents claim it promotes a liberal agenda or challenges traditional gender roles too aggressively. Oh my God, God forbid women do anything but bear children and run a household.
It's like, it's a book.
Just shut up.
Just let people read their book.
Notable challenges and bans. So Texas, Florida, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, and others have seen the book challenged or removed from school curriculums and libraries. In 2022 to 2023, it was listed among the most banned books in the U.S., according to the American Library Association. It has also been banned in other countries for similar reasons related to sexual or religious content. Margaret Atwood herself has said, nothing in the book hasn't already happened somewhere in history.
So I've been waiting for you to say that because I remember finding that quote and being like, this is what I've been trying to say. Getting rid of this book, banning this book does not mean that these things didn't happen. Banning To Kill a Mockingbird does not mean things like that didn't happen.
Newsflash. Sexual assault happens every day. Newsflash. Everybody's using profanity and crude language every day. Newsflash. Religions are misinterpreted every day. Violence and trauma happening everywhere. And I love that quote Nothing in the book hasn't already happened somewhere in history.
And you could say that probably about most banned books, which
But
is why they're banned.
I think we've hit on this throughout
Yeah.
this whole discussion is I'm saying like the more, I feel like conservative areas of the country, we don't want to talk about those things. So the easiest thing to do is just ban them.
Yeah. I do want to make the point that both sides are banning. So it's not just
Yeah,
conservative.
sorry. I need to get my liberal ass
It's
out of here.
okay. I just don't want to seem like we're stereotyping one side because both sides are doing it. We want to be honest about it, but it doesn't mean either is right. Like, you're both wrong. So just stop the nonsense. Just read whatever you want to read, guys. Again, if you're a child, talk to your parent, talk to your adult. But I hate the ban. I just hate banning things. Like, as far as like books go, like Romeo and Juliet's ban. Did you know that? Because I spent half my 8th grade year on that book. It's like one of the oldest writings, and we're gonna ban it because it doesn't meet today's standards. Come on, it wasn't written today.
This whole conversation just kills me.
But there's a kids movie called Romeo and Juliet, based off Romeo and Juliet. All of these kids think so they're gonna know what the story is anyway. But we're gonna ban the play.
We're going to ban the book, but mom and dad are watching The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. Whether you're sitting and watching it or like indirectly watching it, like playing, you've got a teen playing on their game and like it's on television or they're walking in the room, we're getting subjected to this stuff anyway. So
Hop on Pop is also banned. I don't actually remember why, but I was just thinking you can't read Hop on Pop, but you can go put it on like Cartoon Network or whatever.
I'm going to look up right now the top like 10 most popular banned books, and I'm just going to look at the ones that are like hysterical.
And it's hysterical because like why? They just stop the nonsense.
Here we go. Banned books list 2025. Here are just a few that really make me laugh that are banned.
Ready for it.
The Giving Tree.
I know.
What are we doing?
Does it say why it's banned? What you're looking at or no?
It doesn't.
Ugh.
I can look it up though.
The Giver, also banned, by the way. Read that in 8th grade.
Oh my God, I can't. The Giving Tree is banned due to interpretations of the relationship between the boy and the tree as unhealthy, exploitative, or sexist. Some readers perceive the boy as taking from the tree without reciprocation, while others view it as a portrayal of self-sacrifice that can be interpreted negatively. That is the most irate thing that I have ever read in my entire life. The Lorax is on here. We already touched on that one.
That one gets me. I know Dr. Seuss in and of himself is like controversial. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Come on. The Lorax is a good mess.
A Court of Thorns and Roses came up.
And what high school stock in that?
No one.
And I feel like the correlation when the book ends up on a ban list, it's then thought of as a bad book.
Correct.
Like you see it's on a ban list and you're like, then obviously there's something wrong with it. Like it has a bad message or whatever. So I think there's more to hearing it's banned.
The next thing that's going to happen is that like bookstores, because I love how bookstores have sections in their bookstore of banned books, right?
Yeah.
The next thing that's going to happen is that bookstores aren't going to be banned from selling the books, but they're going to be banned from highlighting that they're banned.
I don't know. Like I said, I think putting the label ban goes beyond just not allowing it in schools and libraries. I think it gives it a connotation. It's aggressive.
It's an aggressive term.
And they're for books that, again, they're trying to enlighten you and teach you. We posted on Instagram not that long ago a bunch of these books, and we said they're supposed to be warnings, not instructions. And I don't know, if you're putting it on a ban list, it's almost like you think it should be used as instruction, so you're trying to prevent people from doing it. I don't know. There's so many connotations you can get with it.
We can transition because we could just beat this dead horse into the ground over and
Well,
over
truly.
again. Obviously, highlights from everything we've talked about: To Kill a Mockingbird, parallels to today, modern racial injustices in court cases, Handmaid's Tale, good lord, current political battles over bodily autonomy and women's rights.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on that soapbox. All I'm saying is that my body, my choice. And that's it. Okay, let's hit these listener questions. So the first one is, did Atticus do enough for Tom Robinson? I want your opinion.
I think he did all he could at the time.
Good answer.
I can't judge that based on what I think a lawyer could do today because it's not today. You know what I mean?
Correct. I support that. I think that's a very straightforward answer.
Yeah.
The next question is, would you have resisted Offred or played it safe to survive? So Offred is known very well in this book and in the series on Hulu for resisting.
Okay.
And she finds like really sneaky ways to resist. And I often watch the show, and when I read the book, I was like, man, am I really strong enough to resist? Because I want to sit here and say that I would resist. And this is the thing. What I like about how she resists is that she secretly and quietly resists, and she challenges where she feels like she can get away with it, but she
Okay.
also plays into the regime. And I think that's how I would play it too.
Smart about it.
Yeah, like she's very smart about it. And I think that I would do that too. But also, I just don't know if my mental state, I don't know if I would be strong enough mentally.
That's something I always think about too. That show, What Would You Do? I think it's called. And they set up these really crazy situations to see if you'll intervene or not. And me, as an audience member or a reader, want to sit here and be like, oh, obviously I would say something. Obviously I would rebel. Obviously I would do this.
But would you?
I want to say yes, but I don't know.
I think if I didn't, it would solely be because I just mentally shut down.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Can I ask you another question, though?
Yes.
Because I'm confused. Are they allowed to ever get married?
No.
Then how come that one lady's married to the commander?
So the women that are the handmaids are portrayed as women who, yes, were deemed fertile, but also a lot of experience things like sexual assault, or Offred herself, she has an affair with her husband while he's married. And basically, a lot of these handmaids have a negative past, according to Gilead.
Scarlet letter type people.
Absolutely.
Got it.
And yeah, like I should have used that term. They're basically the scarlet letters of society, and the way that they're giving back to society is by being given the honor of being a handmaid. So that's how Gilead is justifying it, basically. You are giving back by doing this.
Gotcha.
You have been chosen. You are still fertile. You are lucky. And so if those women had children prior, those children are put into a huge, basically, child facility where Marthas take care of those children, and they basically bread and butter them to be good wives and to play into society. So like one of the main storylines that I just hit again is the commander and his wife. Their names are Fred and Serena, who Offred serves. And they have a driver, and basically he's promoted, and his promotion is that he's issued a wife. Like he's privileged enough to have a wife. Mind you, he's, I'm pretty sure, in his maybe like late 20s or 30s, probably his 30s. His wife, the wife that they give him, she is 15 years old.
Stop.
And they have like group marriage ceremonies where their faces are covered, future wives' faces
Sounds
are
like
covered.
so a cult.
It is. And it's like a privilege. There was a conversation between the driver and another commander at one point, and it's basically, why aren't you happy? You were just issued a woman. Issued. Like given. Like we're fucking property. It's just, it's crazy.
And people act like women weren't property not that long ago.
There are people still out there, and not just men. I'm not here to like hate on men. There are also women out there that believe that the woman's place is in the house.
And I think if you want to make that choice for yourself, that's great.
If it works for you and your family, more power to you. If you want to be a stay-at-home wife and you want to take care of the house and you don't want to have a career and you want to take care of the kids and clean, if that's your role and you like it and you are willingly entering into that relationship and that dynamic, awesome. But that ain't me, honey.
And it's also, again, it comes down to choice. You
Yeah.
had the choice to do that. Other women want the choice to have their careers.
Choice. What a great word.
I know. But control takes away the choices. And that's really what this all comes down to. Moving on, because we'll keep going. My favorite quote from To Kill a Mockingbird is, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." And I think that's so true. Like, you really don't know anybody else's story, regardless of what color they are, what religion they are, literally anybody else's story.
And I think it's so important because, like, perfect example, both of us are sitting here talking. You are a white woman and I am also a white woman, and that's how we identify. Our worldviews and our lives are not the fucking same.
No.
I can't say that I know you and I know your worldview and I know your experience just because you're white and you're a woman.
No. We can because we tell each other everything.
Best friend. So maybe that wasn't that.
But I get it.
That wasn't it. Like a good example. But
Yeah.
so my quote from The Handmaid's Tale, and this, I believe, is said by Commander Waterford Fred.
Mine was by Atticus. I've
Okay. And it is, "Better never means better for everyone. It always means worse for some." And I'm just going to let that one sit and not make any comments about it. It's not a comment about the quote, but there was a certain scene in the book and in the show, and two handmaids were talking, one of them being Offred, the other one was like her partner. So basically they have shopping partners. They can't go anywhere alone for their safety. And they were walking home from the store, and Offred's shopping partner basically was like, "Don't cause trouble for me. Don't do anything that's going to bring me attention. Like, I want to just fly under the radar. I'm not rebelling. I don't want any of the crap that you're trying to dig into," right? And her partner basically says, "Before this, what? Let me guess. You shopped at Nordstrom and you had a decent car and your husband did X, Y, and Z." And she very much highlights and describes a privileged life, a white woman. And Offred's kind of like, "Yeah, you're right." And she said, "I was getting fucked behind a dumpster for $30 just so I could buy groceries for myself." And she was like, "So now I have a house over my head. I have a family," in quotations, but a family who takes care of me, and I'm fed. And I just think that perspective is everything. To Offred, this place is very oppressive, and this is awful. But this other woman's, actually, this is the best that I've ever had.
I think it ties my quote in. You don't know anybody else's story.
No.
You don't. And you can't assume that you have the same feelings they have and vice versa, because it's not true usually.
No. Wow, I love some really heavy crap. I think that we need to get off and go play Dreamlight.
Yeah, we're going to go play Disney Dreamlight Valley, guys. I don't know if you have it, but if you don't, you should get it.
Oh my God.
On Switch.
That should be part of our chit chat in one of our next episodes at the beginning.
Tomorrow's.
Oh, yeah.
Shit,
I forgot we're recording tomorrow.
Also, guys, tomorrow we're recording Assassin's Blade and Throne of Glass. We're putting them together, and I'm so excited about it. So excited.
I'm going to need that after this one tonight. If you enjoyed our episode, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. All the things, all the posts.
We also have a website. I don't think we've told you guys that yet.
Yeah.
It's a hardbacklife.com. My mom made it for us, guys. So I just wanted to double check.
Shout out.
Shout out my mom. Love you. It is up to date. So all our podcasts, the links to the YouTubes come up as soon as it posts. It tells you where else you can listen. It has an about us. It has a way for you to reach out to us. Yeah. So shout out to my mom who set that up.
I had a whole situation with my microphone.
I saw. I just kept going. I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Leave it to me.
So yeah, I think on the website you can click and it'll take you to our YouTube. It'll take you to our Instagram, our TikTok, whatever.
All right. With that, Until next chapter, stay cunning, stay brave, and remember you are your own high lady.